Capricorn, let's do your seasonal reading. Let's pull a card for April, May, and June. 3 cards, okay? Let's find out what you need to know for your season ahead in order to live a life to your highest potential. And remember, these cards that I pull, it's not like some future that's set in stone. It's just advice for how to live to your deepest desires, full of purpose, full of love. I'm Michele B, and I create tarot readings 2 or 3 times a week. I do monthlies, weeklies, lunar cycle. I do love, purpose, and prosperity readings. Those are my 3 favorite subjects. So make sure that you're subscribed if you love my energy so that you can be in the loop about those readings that come up. So here we go. Let's go ahead and pull a card for April for Capricorn. Got the Tower. Now remember what I was saying. It's like, no, there's not some future that's set in stone. It's just how to go forward in spite of things that are happening around you. What the Tower is all about, I don't feel like this is something that's actually happening right now, but what it's trying to say is, if there's something that you're trying to avoid, Capricorn, I feel like there's something that Capricorn's trying to avoid, and it's something that's eating away. Something that's eating away at you, okay? And it really has something to do with a deep emotional connection that's not working for you anymore, but you feel kind of bad that you have to acknowledge that. And I don't want you to do that. The universe doesn't want you to do that. So what it wants you to know is, with this Tower energy, I've seen it play out in my own life when there was something that was bugging me, but I felt like my hands were tied, that I couldn't change it. That would be too hard to change the way that it was going. I don't know how to have this confrontation to be able to tell the people involved that I'm not interested in doing it this way anymore. How am I going to do this? A disaster came down the pipe at me. I got in a really bad car accident. And that prevented me from being able to do the things that I didn't want to do anymore. Woo, a problem solved. The universe was like, here you go, problem solved. You don't have to do it anymore. Okay? So watch out for those things that are bugging you so much that you're like, I can't imagine myself doing this much longer without it being a real problem. You've got to buck up, get brave. That's what the cards are saying. It's like time to buck up and make the changes yourself before something bad happens. Before you end up with something like you're taking such poor care of your physical body that you end up with cancer or heart disease, or you're bickering so much with your partner instead of figuring out a way to work it out, that you end up having a breakup and all the disaster that comes from the economic household split, and the children and all that stuff, right? Your connection with your children, for that matter, their connection with anyone intimate. Try to see what you can do to clarify that, or release those people from being in your life, because the effects of the negativity involved are disastrous. You see how these 2 people are falling from the Tower? They were bickering and fighting and carrying on and on, just like not getting along, right? And so the universe was like, all right, you 2, you need to get away from each other. Boom! And it just blew up the Tower, and they fell out. And now they're not interacting with each other anymore the hard way, right? Okay, so there's that. That doesn't mean that there's a disaster happening now. The cards just want you to know, Capricorn, to watch out, be mindful of those things that you know need to change, and be brave about getting them out of your life, out of your influence. We got the Magician the Hermit is in reverse in this card. When I pull cards that are clearly reversed, to me it means you've got a block. You've got resistance to the positive aspects of the card. So your blocks would be, I'm afraid of doing things by myself. So there's a couple of bits of fear that I'm sensing in the spring for Capricorn. A couple of bits of things that need to be addressed and courageously faced. And the first one being, there's things that I want to change. The second one being, I really don't like the idea of being alone, and I'd rather be unhappy than be alone, because at least I know what to expect with what I have. So there's that. It doesn't mean that you're going to be alone. It's saying, let's address those fears. The fear of, here's another one, like another example. Rather than being alone in a breakup, it's like, I'm afraid of leaving my job that I don't like, leaving the job that I don't like. I'm afraid of moving away from the home that I don't like, because then I'm going to be wandering the wilderness in search of a new home. So that's an example, right? I'm afraid of the transition. But the truth is that this fear of the unknown, it can make things look much worse than they are in reality. Sometimes it's wiser to stick with something that you're only a little bit unhappy with, but a lot of the time, most of the time, you're better off just transitioning to something that you don't know, rather than be unhappy with what it is that you have. I just felt like I needed to tell you that, Capricorn. Finally, we're looking at June. So here you are at a new beginning in June, okay? Transitional times for you, Capricorn, in the earlier part of the spring, but it's going to pivot halfway through to you being like, okay, I'm ready to start learning new things. I'm ready to start having forward momentum. So that's really good. So facing your fears, the huge theme is facing your fears and releasing them. Letting go of situations that aren't serving you and being willing to start fresh and new. And what it does is it inspires you. You had no idea how good things could be on the other side of that wall of what you were afraid of. So that's excellent news, Capricorn. I'm going to let you go. Love you, and I'll see you later. Have a great season.